Hello, BookTube. Oh, my guest is gone. We had a wonderful time, but it's left me very tired. so my videos today may be briefer than usual. But we do have some mail. I have a feeling this will be the last mail. I don't think there'll be any. I haven't saved any packages, and I don't think there'll be any mail tomorrow. Although sometimes I get surprises. So let's just. These are 3 packages. They're all cardboard. There's no manila envelopes. So let's see what we have here for these 3. Might be something squeal-worthy, something that I definitely want to get to right away. Okay, this first one, I believe I requested this. This is a paperback original. It comes out on March the 10th. With the help of my friend Sam, I just redid my books, my work bookcase, which is organized by month, and we cleared off the ungodly amount of books still around for February into piles of stuff to give away, piles of stuff to donate, and a much smaller pile of things that I will hopefully still review in February. And then we moved up the March books, which was it's an enormous amount, but we move them up. We get it. It's a great opportunity to talk about them. And to sort of look ahead at what we see ourselves, what trends, lots of Jane Austen books, all that sort of stuff. And then once we move the March books up, we organize them by week of release, left to right, so that it's not just willy-nilly, so that I know what I'm looking at and when. So a column for March the 3rd, which is vast, absolutely vast, and then a much smaller column for the next week, and then so on and so forth. And once Sam and I were done organizing that and putting it all together like that, and we took a step back, we immediately both estimated that it's not as bad as it looks. That'll be the next task for me. I don't do that when I'm shifting the books. My next task will be to go through those 4 mountains and pull out the books that I'm certainly not going to review. So winnow out those. And with any luck, that will be half the gigantic pile of books that's there now, and then I can start to prioritize. And then the next step I usually take is to say, okay, those are the ones I'm not going to review. Which are the ones that I am definitely going to review? The ones that I absolutely cannot let go by. And then there's the middle ground, because I'm hoping to do a lot of reviewing in March. But anyway, this comes out in March, and it's a paperback original, so it'll have to go on that pile. It's March. Its date is March the 10th. So that'll be the second gigantic column, and it's translated. It's another piece of translated literature, and it's translated by John Cullen. This is Martin Dumont's Schrodinger's Dog. Martin Dumont is young. He was born in Paris in 1988 and spent many years in Brittany, where he fell in love with the sea. In addition to writing, he works as a naval architect. That's odd. This is his debut novel. How fantastic. Ordinarily, people who were born in 1988 are only architects of navel gazing. They are not actual naval architects, so that's fascinating. What have we got here? Well, let's see. Well, the back of the book is, this is a striking debut novel about the power of a father's love for his son and the heart-wrenching choices he has to make in the face of death. Yanni's world is Pierre, the son he raised as a single parent. For nearly 20 years, Yanni spent his nights as a cab driver with Pierre always at his side, so as not to miss a moment in each other's company. Yanni and Pierre also share a love of diving in pursuit of that magical moment when they lose themselves in the deep sea. Absolute insanity to go diving in the ocean, to swim in the ocean. Absolute insanity. When enveloped by the natural world, father and son relish an escape from life's pressures. But for some time, Pierre has been tired, too tired. Despite how attentively Yanni watches him, Yanni missed the early signs of illness. Faced with harsh reality of his son's numbered days, Yanni struggles to invent a life his son won't have time to live. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds really good. Oh, that sounds really good. Okay, and the title shows the ocean, of course, so obviously that's going to play a key role. But also a box. The box is a reference to the title. Because this was when was this written? This is translated from the French, and it was originally published in in 2018, so it's a fairly recent turnaround time. This refers to the famous thought experiment that Erwin Schrödinger did about quantum mechanics, about quantum operation. You put a cat in a box with a vial of radioactive substance or poison gas or however it is, there's a hammer that is poised to shatter a vial of glass that has poison in it that will kill the cat. And whether or not the hammer falls is connected with a piece of radioactive material, and whether or not it trips the hammer is a function of whether or not of the state of its subatomic particle. Let's simplify and put it that way. And the whole idea of the phenomenon being described in the thought experiment is that your own wave function, the wave function of the outside observing world, changes the wave function of the particles inside the box when you open it. So that the effect of seeing it changes it. And Schrödinger put this forward as an idea that until you determine the wave function, until the wave function inside the box is determined, the cat is in a nether state, a superimposition, where it is both alive and dead. It does not achieve one of those states until the orientation of the particle is determined, and that is determined when the box is open. And people have been poking fun. They started poking fun at it right away when Schrödinger was still alive, saying, "What do you have against cats?" And this is an allusion to that, Schrödinger's dog. I would not have called it that at all, not in the slightest, even on the brief acquaintance that I have with the subject matter. Just from the description, I wouldn't have called it that at all. The title is a gimmick. Maybe it will have some deep emotional importance in the book, but it needs explaining. It needs the explanation that I just gave it, or a better one, a better version of the same one. But a title that needs explaining is a bad title, But Do Blondes Prefer Gentlemen, and one of my bête noir examples. Anthony Burgess once wrote a book called But Do Blondes Prefer Gentlemen, and it needs explaining. No one understands it if you don't understand the advertising jingo that it was built on, and if you do, then you get it, but no one live does. So anyway, let's see what this next one is. Oh, okay, good Lord, look at all this paperwork. Okay, well, I don't need any of this. I don't need any of this. I don't need your mother's bouillabaisse. I don't need any of this. Let's see. Okay, this is, I believe, another paperback original. Yes, it is. This is another paperback original. What a pretty thing. This is by Francie Rabenek Epstein, and it is Francie's War, a memoir, in a lovely finished penguin. With deckled edges and French flaps. A very nice volume, nicely put together. And this comes out again in March. This is March 17th is the date. Almost 50 years after it was written, Penguin Books is honored. Okay. Penguin Books was not written 50 years ago. That's okay. Penguin Books is honored to finally publish the moving and engrossing Holocaust memoir, Francie's War, which has an afterword by the author's daughter, Helen Epstein. Francie is a woman ahead of her time. Her candid writing on the female experience during the war may have been the reason why many publishers rejected her memoir in 1975. Ultimately, Francie gave the manuscript to her daughter Helen, who then put it in a file cabinet. It remained there for decades until Helen, noting similarities in political movements between the 1930s and the 2010s, reread the memoir and decided it was time for her mother's story to be told. And boy, oh boy, what a lovely way this is for it to be told. What a lovely volume. Because you're not going to know about this. This is a manuscript that's been under lock and key for 50 years. So you might not, if you're just an ordinary person going into a bookstore, a Holocaust memoir that is new, a new Holocaust, newly printed, newly circulated Holocaust memoir might interest you, but it'll interest you a whole lot less if it's a $37.50 hardcover. This you can just buy. That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. Okay, well, great. So this is another paperback original. I don't think that the third and final thing that we have here is going to be another paperback original because it's a box. So I think that's unlikely. But let's see what it is. Let's see if I have the strength to open it. let's see. Oh, okay. All right. Great. This is a finished copy of something that we've already seen. These books are trying to get me going. Schrodinger's dog. Who would ever make a thought experiment if a dog's life was in danger? Although I'm starting to soften a little on cats since they appear to like me. I don't know what to do about that. I approached a bodega cat the other day, expecting it to hiss at me, as cats always do, and instead he was perfectly friendly. Just wanted to cuddle. But we've seen this already. This is a finished copy. This will almost certainly be a March book as well. Yes, March 10th. Okay, and this is Donald Kettle. This is The Divided States of America, Why Federalism Doesn't Work. Federalism was James Madison's great invention, an innovative system of power sharing that balanced national and state interests. Federalism was the pragmatic compromise that brought the colonies together to form the United States. Yet, even beyond the question of slavery, inequality was built into the system because federalism is by its very nature meant that many aspects of an American's life depended on where they lived. Over time, these inequalities have created vast divisions between states and made federalism fundamentally unstable. In this book, the author chronicles the history of a political system that once united the nation and now threatens to break it apart. Okay. All right. And this is a finished copy, so there is our author. And he is the Sid Richardson Professor at the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs at the University of Texas at Austin. And he lives in Austin, Texas. A wonderful, wonderful city. Okay, well, I believe that I sent the advance copy of this to David Murphy. To poor, beleaguered David Murphy, who's probably trying to just live his life. Instead, he gets boxes of books in the mail, and with me impatiently waiting for him to review them. It's for his own good. All right, so those are 3 March books that we got to end out the week. I don't think there'll be any mail tomorrow. This is The Divided States of America. I will put this in the mail to whatever godforsaken Western territory he lives in. I hope we never give them the statehood. And then Francie's War, a beautifully done, a very affordable trade paperback of a newly circulating Holocaust memoir, A Voice, from 1975, remembering the 1940s, that we haven't heard before. In a crowded literature, but still, any new voice is incredibly welcome. They're going to become incredibly rare. When's the next time we're going to have an original Holocaust memoir? And Schrodinger's Dog, a novel by Martin Dumont. It sounds very touching. I'm wondering, those of you who are in France, do you know this author? It's his debut novel, but did this get talked about 2 years ago when it came out? Does it ring any bells? But there you go. That is our last mail of the week, I believe. So I will wrap this up. But I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.